Right, so let's have a look at my tool bag. So it is a Velocity Rogue 8.0. It's the PB soldering bag. You get it from, obviously, Velocity Tools. So, or Velocity Pro Gear, I think it's called Velocity Pro Gear. So let's have a look at the actual bag itself before we look at what tools are in there. So this is the bag. It is for soldering, so it might not necessarily be for people that like to do press fit, but it's got somewhere to store your gas canister. It comes with a little pot as well, which you can choose what you use that for. In the section, you've got quite an open space with some pockets that are actually very well made for adjustable spanners and grips. Over the other side, this is actually for a fire extinguisher, so it's quite a large loop. It does say fire extinguisher on it. If we turn it around, you might be able to see that. If I move that out of the way, see that little red tab there? It says fire extinguisher. You have space for all of your pipe slices. So this is an actual pipe slice holder. Okay, made that look more difficult than it actually is to get these off. It comes with 15, 22 and 28, but on the actual bag itself you can put your 10mm as well, and it fits there comfortably. They slide on nice and easy. Stops them falling off. They're pretty good. They do stay on there quite well. The handle is a very thick, hard rubber. It's very nice to carry, as well as having a shoulder strap. So padded shoulder strap, fully adjustable. It's very thick, very durable, and that works great. It's not a lanyard, it's for mountain climbing. What are these called? These are nice and they're pretty good. They've got a pretty good system to lock in place. They're easy to take off, easy to put on, and they just look high quality, decent quality. So if we actually stick on this side, we've also got a loop for tapes. So you can put insulation tape, you can put PTFE tape, anything like that really. It's got loads of pockets all the way around the outside. It has this large storage pocket here. And what I quite like as well is because it has a flap over, when you're carrying with the strap over your shoulder, this can sit on your hip, on your side quite comfortably. We have an open pocket this side, and there's plenty of loops so you can put your keys, key rings sort of things. So we've got some het bits. We'll go through the tools in a sec. So you get the idea, get loads of pockets. And then the last side, this side, fairly open. It does actually come with some pots that I've actually removed because instead of having pots, I wanted another open space. So we'll actually start this one end, and this is where the soldering compartment is. You have plenty of spaces to put all of your screwdrivers. There's a small side pocket, which I use for Stanley knife. This is the Nerad one. It's also a scraper. This is fantastic for removing silicone. So we got that. I also like to store my pencil in there. Now I've gone with this Baco Mechanics pencil. Reason being is although all mechanical pencils are made equal, some aren't. This one lays flat. Now when you're working on a roof, that's the whole point. If you've ever seen a carpenter's pencil, they're this shape. Reason being is they can't roll. If you're working on a roof, they're not gonna slide off, roll off. So that's why I use that one. Now this bag does come with a tape loop, tape holder, and that works quite well. It's not too small, it's not too big, it doesn't stand off too much. It's pretty perfect, to be fair. Bottom of the case, it's hard plastic, so very easy to keep clean. Now this area here, this used to hold, I think it was for flux brushes, but it fell off quite quick after having the bag, to be fair. That's the only downside, is that this space is now not really used for anything. So I do keep my screwdrivers, like I say, I've got two sizes. So I've got stuff for electrical, and then normal size, standard size. Obviously all plumbers need a flathead. The one tool that always goes missing. They always go missing, don't they? Now I have this, which is a pistol grip ratchet and screwdriver. Very useful. Obviously you've got your directions on it. You can hold bits in the end. If you squeeze like this, you pull this out. Got some bits. Now it is pistol grip, which makes it easier on the wrist Press this button, you can twist the handle round and it will go straight. But I quite like it in the pistol grip. So let's look at the soldering area. So got some soldering there. Now this little pot here, you can put what you like in it basically. And what I like to put in it is flux. So I just pour my flux straight in there. Now you can microwave your flux and then pour it in. It would make a much neater job. But when I was on site, I just sort of smudged it in. Now this can be used for keeping your rag in. If you've got a wet rag, save your tools going rusty, put it inside of this pot. You also obviously have your space for your blowtorch. Now since I've had this bag, I've never had this Rothenberger blowtorch fail, which they do usually fail, let's be honest. They're not the best torch in the world, but it hasn't failed since I've had this bag because it's kept upright. It's not rolling about in the back of the van. Let's have a look at Arctic Haze quad brush for cleaning up pipes. You have these Nerad jet sweats. So if you've ever seen these, it's a tool that never gets used, but the idea is, if I can remember which way it goes, you put your spanner on there, use that with your hands, that tightens up, that rubber pinches together and squeezes and gets fatter. Stick that inside a 15mm pipe as you're doing it and you can bung it up. So I have the 15 and the 22mm, but for how often I use them and how expensive they are, they're just not really worth it, to be honest with you. Underneath you've got a cavity. Now this is just Velcroed on, so you can take that out to obviously clean. Now I've got a flux brush under there. That's what I just keep under there, is my flux brushes. So let's put that back together. So right next to soldering, like I say, you've got your pipe slices. Use a Nerad Pro. Now with Nerad pipe slices, I always go for the Pro. So the blade is actually a harder stainless steel and it should last longer. Now I've had these 28s for about 2 years. Obviously I don't do a lot of 28, so they haven't been very well used. These 22s I've had for about 3 years now. See the blades just starting to go on them, but they cut perfectly fine. 15, that's quite new actually. And then 10mm. 10mm comes up quite often in my area, 10mm copper. Just look at the center console, the center of the bag. So let's have a little look. This area that is supposed to be for a fire extinguisher, now I put in, this is a Versa funnel by Nerad. So that's just a funnel that you can put under radiators or leaking pipework to divert it into a bucket. Have some plastic cutters made by Baco. Now these are great because you can do 1.5 inch pipe with those. Have a load of consumables in the middle. So I've got some glue, some paste, some rapid blue. Over this side I have my grips and spanners. Now you're going to say you're not a real plumber. You're not a real plumber because you don't have Nipex. You don't have Nipex grips. No, I actually quite like these. They're made by Baco. These are the 7223s. I think these are the 7225, is it? 7225s, which are the larger ones. These are brilliant for any sort of back nuts. They open super wide. They work pretty well. And I like the auto lock as well, so that you don't have to actually hold that button. You can just push it up to and then tighten up. So one of the last sections, this is where it gets interesting, because this is all sort of random stuff. So little boat level, I have these bungs. Oh, look at that. These bungs are absolutely amazing because you can actually push these up inside of valves. They're quite cool. I can't remember the company that actually produces these. They just say Yellock, but I don't actually think that's the company I brought them from. That one's a bit more difficult to get out, but that's for tanks, and that goes all the way up to about 35mm. Box spanner, although I have the Nerad Tapex kit, just to have in your bag. These come in really handy. So that's just a back nut spanner for basins and bath taps. Then we have some, these are really nice, and these are the best ones I think on the market. So hex keys, or Allen keys, whatever you like to call them. Really good set, color coded, ball ended, so they fit in really nice. They're just a really good quality, and also they don't slip out. which a lot of the holders are a bit crap and they just keep slipping out. But these ones made by Baco, there's the product code. If you wonder where I get a lot more tools, either Plumbers Tools, it's a family-run business based in Leicester. If you search up Tool Terminal, that's what the company's called, but all their social media is Plumbers Tools. They do have a website as well. In fact, I might actually put it in the description, because loads of this stuff I got from them. Like all of my screwdrivers I got from them, on pipe slicers I got from them, almost what else did I get from them? Verse funnel I got from them, and loads of other bits. Let's carry on. We got sidetracked then. Or eBay. Anything that you can't get from them, stuff like this, I get from eBay. So let's have a look. We got a file, which is great for soil pipes. That's the only time it ever really gets used. Or when you're going into a strap-on boss and you need to file it down if it's push fit. We've got this, which is a lovely little Japanese pry bar. Again, made by Baco. I like this type of head and I like this type of end. So you see a lot of them, the clawfoots, they widen up at the bottom. Now, I just don't really see the point. It's okay for prying, but for these are for taking up floorboards when you're doing central heat and pipe work and you need to take up some floorboards. Got a little light. This is just a basic little light. Quite bright. Got different functions, which a lot of the functions are pointless. But it's got a little kickstand, so it fits in the bag nice. You can use that under a kitchen sink cupboard, put it in a cupboard or whatever. It's all right, it's not too bad. I do have a Unilight with SLR 500, I think it is. Pretty good because they're magnetic, and again, they got loads of adjustment. Got for radiator tails, again, this is made by Baco. So radiator tail, ratchet in spanner. What is that? I feel like that's not the right name for that tool. And I think that's pretty much everything in here. We can have a little dig round, see if there's anything else. Yeah, there is. There's some other bits. Super wide jaw spanners. These never get used. Maybe on basin waste sometimes, I suppose. There is another pipe bung in there. And I think that's it. I've trimmed the fat a lot on this tool bag, so it's not so heavy. Right, so we're going to have a look at the end, which has got a olive removal tool. This is made by Monument. Slip it over, pop your olive off, and then it just pulls off. Nice and easy. There's the sheave from my old pen, which was a tracer, but I've lost it. And this side I just use for basically, and I don't know where that's gone. That's really annoying. But I did have the Nipex wire stripper in here. That's probably floating about in the van somewhere. Then there should be a side cutter in there as well. Side cutter, some long nose pliers, a def stick, which every time I post a video using this, all of the electricians say, oh, you could get radioactive poison from that. Or something, I don't know. It's like everyone's like, oh, the def sticks, you'll die. Tiny little spanner. Reason I have the tiny little spanner is for when you're doing immersion heaters, they come with that silly little nut. So that's what they're good for. And then we have some PTFE tape and we have some drill bits. If we have a look at some of the other things I use the lanyards for, so this is just a massive loop that I keep all of my fibre washers on. And then they're just always there by my side when you're going out jobbing. These have Velcro straps. I think you can get these personalised with your own initials. I just have the British flag that it came with. Open up this side pouch. What do we have in here? We have some caps. We've got some box spanners. What else? Anything else? Yes, we do. This is a pick set. In fact, I'm scared to put my hand in there because there might be a pick in there. Pick should be in there. So there's a pick. There we go. So they're made by Regan. That's super useful when you're removing your fibre washers. You can get in there and pick them out. And this is magnetic, look. So it might be useful for some things. We got some sockets in there, just stuff that I've lobbed in there really. I don't think there's anything too crazy in there. I don't know what I used a 19mm socket for. Right, so we're at the opposite end. We've seen that. So we're just gonna have a look in this last little pocket now. Got some little extra bits, some washers and bits and bobs of plumb chum. Absolute pile of crap tool, but don't need to worry about that. We've got some hep keys. Then we've got some stubbies. Stubbies are always useful. These are, they look like Baco, but they're not Baco. They're Bowser, which is a German company that Baco brought. So that's why they do look very much like the Baco ones. If you actually look at the pattern on the Baco, it's exactly the same. It's because they brought the company Bowser. That was before that Baco took them over. Very good screwdrivers, by the way. And then we got an olive puller. Olive puller, you put that in your impact driver, or you can put a screwdriver through here to get some leverage, and that will wind off any olives. Sometimes the cutter's better. It all depends. It all depends what the placement is. What else we got here? We got some silicone tools. So silicone in, do a lot of silicone in. Some spare blades. This is my bits and bobs pouch that I put any rubbish that I think, oh, that will be useful at some point. I'll use that eventually, and then I forget it's in there, and then I run to the merchants and get one anyway. But that concludes the tour of the bag. It is the Velocity Rogue 8.0.